Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Nice, beautiful weather here in Cancun.
Yes, sir. I'm asking to you that one. It's a nice weather in Cancun.
It's a little bit warmer than Canada right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's too different, like Hamilton, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I think it's plus 27 here in Cancun and maybe minus 20 in Hamilton right now.
Okay, gotcha. Sir Bobby Smyrniotis, is that correct to pronounce or not?
Very correct. Very well done.
Thank you, sir. So, welcome to the Somos 18 Sport page, and we here with the coach from Forge FC, a Canadian team from the Premier League. So, first of all, thanks for the interview, coach. You are 4 times Canadian champion in the Premier League and also 3 times Chill winner. How do you feel about that history with the Forge FC?
Yeah, it's been a great run. For me personally, this is my 8th year starting with the club. So in each of the 7 years, we've been blessed to lift the trophy and do excellent things. And beyond that, what gives us a lot of the motivation for that is being part of the CONCACAF competitions. In the first years, that was through CONCACAF League. Back then, we also qualified to Champions League in our first Champions Cup appearance. And we continue to do that. And each and every year, we have the pleasure of playing one of the top Mexican clubs, as we do this year.
Well, first of all, do you call soccer or football?
Yeah, football, but okay, we can call it either one. We call it both, but for me, football.
Right now, you are in the preseason on Cancun. Why Cancun?
Yeah, there's a few reasons. One is the obvious weather. It's quite cold back home in Hamilton, and you're training indoors. When we can get outside onto the stadium pitch, we do. But it's also a very early part of the season for us. So two things: one, you want to get into an environment where you can train, have the guys secluded hotel, get a couple of sessions in per day, and also try and get some good quality friendly matches. To be able to do that, you have to go somewhere where other teams are also, let's say, in their preseason. And the last 3 years, we've chosen Mexico as our destination for preseason camps. A couple of years back in Querétaro, I believe I said that correctly.
Yes, sir.
And the last 2 years, last year and this year in Cancun. And yeah, the setup is great for us. The weather is great. The competition of the games as well, and it gives ourselves a good opportunity as a team to not only build on the field but build off of the field. We're coming straight into preseason starting on January 5th after being off for 2 months. So you want to try and get in as much as possible as you prepare for the Champions Cup.
When you receive the schedule from the season and you see CONCACAF Champions Cup against Cruz Azul, Chivas, Monterrey, and now Tigres on 2026. Do you think this is the motivation from go to Mexico, or doesn't matter the preseason about that information?
No, I think it always helps that you make yourself familiar with the environment, familiar with getting a few friendly matches against clubs from Mexico at different levels that we've had over the past. Yeah, but like I said, the conditions here are great, and it's a football nation. Huh? You guys love your football, you love everything around it, and I think that's important to immerse yourself in that side of the game as you prepare. And yeah, of course, I think when you look at Mexican football, it has an identity. And we've played against 3 of the big clubs in the past, and we'll play Tigres this year. And I think, it's common. You watch Liga MX, and I think it's one of the most exciting leagues in the world. There's up and down football. Teams are trying to show their way of playing, packed stadiums, great atmospheres all around. I think it's an up-tempo game, and a game that sees teams, for the most part, yes, wanting to attack and play good football.
Okay, even that you making the preseason and so against that 4 teams, data as a common fact with that teams. The 4 teams that mentioned it to you, all is CONCACAF champions. What do you think about that? You only against the champion.
Yeah, I said it last year when we were drawn with CF Monterrey. I said as a joke, we only have Tigres and Club America left. And so this year Tigres, and maybe next year Club America. And then we have,
and yeah, and you have the six games, the champions.
The big five, let's say. And I hope I'm not leaving out anyone else. But yeah, it's when you're in this competition, you got to prepare yourself to play the best, and that's something we always look forward to. And to be honest, we love the atmosphere and the challenge that it brings. Playing a team from Liga MX right now, you're playing a team that is really in mid-season form. You look at Tigres, and it's a short period between Apertura and Clausura. And they'll have played, I believe it's 4 matches with the game that's coming up on the 31st. So they're in mid-season form. We're a little bit different, and that gives us a good challenge.
So we hate the comparison, but what do you think about Canadian Premier League and how the comparison, like the best of the Liga MX, how do you make that comparison in that league?
Yeah, I think it's if you look at it, it's 2 different competitions all around. One has a rich history of, and I'm not sure, maybe 100 years here in Mexico, maybe 50, I don't know what the number is. And you look at the Canadian Premier League, and we're entering year 8. So I think every step we make and we continue to make, we continue to grow. Then you take the financial considerations out. Maybe you look at the top clubs, and you're looking at 20 times a budget with players, transfers, and so on. But for us, it's as a club, we always think big. And you see that from the way we compete, not only domestically, but in our domestic cup competitions. In the middle of the season, playing against the teams from MLS, we've had an excellent record there. So when we're doing things right, we're very positive. We know what we want on the pitch, and we play with a strict identity. And that's the most important thing for us. So I think it's tough to compare the leagues one another. One is traditional or an older league that's been around, very established, and Canadian football, I think, is on the rise. If you look at it over the last 10 years and following it, we're obviously in CONCACHAF, and what the Canadian national team looks like compared to 10 years ago is a lot different. And I think football is on a big rise. I've been involved now for about 25 years through development and then first team football. And I think we've got not only an excellent base, but an excellent generation that's going to keep on coming. And the Canadian Premier League is going to be an integral part of that as we keep on going forward.
Do you think the World Cup from 2026 helped to Canada to grow up your soccer, your football, philosophy?
Yeah, of course. It's you always look at the shop window, and the shop window is your national team. That's what the world sees. The world sees your top players in the nation. Jonathan David at Juventus, Alphonso Davies at Bayern Munich, so on and so forth. So it was integral that the national team was in Qatar in 2022, now in 2026. So for almost 6 years, you're a World Cup nation. I think that allows everything to grow. That allows the younger generations to aspire for more, because that's important too. That's part of the DNA here in Mexico. A young player knows if he does it right, he's going to play in a World Cup. Because between me and you, when was the last time Mexico was not in a World Cup? I can't remember it. The first recollection I have of a World Cup was 1986 Mexico as a young man. So I remember Mexican football.
That's cool. That's interesting.
One of my favorite strikers was always Hugo Sanchez from Real Madrid. There you go. These are all important, right? Because as young players, when you can see heroes, you see your team, your national team playing at the highest level. I think that brings football up very quickly, and that's what's happening right now in Canada. National team is doing very well. Canadian Premier League is growing, and the teams are doing a fantastic job, and the sport continues to grow, and that will allow us to keep on getting better, and that will make it more interesting in CONCACAF region with the national team.
Yeah, and thank you for being the CONCACAF. The next question about that tournament, we have a couple days and a few days to the game against Tigres. How do you prepare that game? You first received the team on Hamilton, the Tim Hortons Field, and then visit the Volcán Universitario, say in Mexico, the stadium.
Yeah, I think it's one you do as best as possible to scout an opponent, and that's the one good thing we have is we have a lot of recent games of Tigres, so you're able to get a very good look at an opponent. Where for us, we're who we were maybe 2 months ago with new players, new things, so it's a little bit more difficult. And the second thing is it's you always have to take advantage of your home field and how uncomfortable that could be. And it's not that the players can't play in the cold, yeah, but if it's minus 15, minus 20, it's a little bit of a different atmosphere. So, that's one thing, we discuss and just making sure that we're going to play our football. That's who we are as a club, and that's how we get the best version of ourselves. So, in this period, it's 4.5 weeks is our preparation, and it's our preparation to play 2 games to give ourselves an opportunity to play 2 more. That's the way we look at it, because we're not preparing to play an Apertura, Clausura, or the championship. Where right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
that's in April. So everything is 100% directed at an opponent that's very good, that's very experienced, that's got the depth in their squad. And that's how we'll prepare. And the most important thing is to come out with a positive result in Hamilton on February 3rd.
Perfect. The last question, sir. What is your goal in this 2026?
Yeah, the goal for our club, the goal is simple. You must finish the year with a trophy. Our competition gives us an opportunity. In the first 5 years, it was that there was only one trophy. And then the last 3 years, there's 2 trophies available. So for us, that's the minimum. That's who we are as a club, and that's what we've proven over 7 years. And the players know that. The players that have been here, the players that come in, they know they're coming into a club that has high standards, high expectations of their players. Yeah, and of course, we've been in CONCACAF competitions now for 7 years. Going back in CONCACAF League, we tasted some good results going into the semifinals. For us, it's a big thing to go another round in Champions Cup, and that's a difficult task. It's a difficult task, not because it's Tigres, and of course they're a big club, but it's the time period that we're in. So you have to be very focused. The little details make the difference in these matches. But as a club, that's always the constant goal. And yeah, domestically, the one trophy that still is away from us is the domestic cup.
Yeah.
We lost 1 year in the finals in a shootout, and that's something that I know the players in the club would really enjoy. But yeah, we want to play our football. We want to play our brand of football, not just to compete, but to win trophies.
Thank you, sir, for your time. So I hope you see it too in Mexico, in Monterrey specifically. I born here and raised here, so you are very, very welcome. And do you know, it's my first interview in English.
Yeah, fantastic job, my friend.
Thank you, my coach, and I hope you see you too in the Forge against Tigres.
Gracias.
Nice Español.